بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And in my lecture that I gave in Birmingham on the 28th of August, I responded to the question, has Pax Judeica arrived? And I answered that question by providing the evidence that yes, Pax Judeica has arrived. While I had previously held the view that the movement from Pax Americana to Pax Judeica will not take place until the Great War takes place, the Malhama or Armageddon. I changed my view when I saw what happened after the Hamas attack on Israel on the 7th of October 2023. That Israel had launched her own 9/11. And Israel was unfolding a plan for which they had prepared the trap for Hamas. And at the back of this plan, I realized Israel is defying world opinion. That as Israel was proceeding with genocide in Gaza, mankind around the world was waking up and rising up against Israel and protesting. Public opinion was changing around the world. That university campuses in the United States was witnessing students, university students, who are rising up and protesting, demonstrating against Israel. And this was happening despite so many years of brainwashing on the part of the media, the American media, supporting Israel. It was a miracle. In Britain, there were massive demonstrations against Israel. Around the world, people were demonstrating against Israel. And Israel didn't care two peanuts. Israel was showing contempt for world public opinion. What kind of a state is this that is showing contempt for world public opinion? South Africa had taken Israel to the International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice had issued a warrant for the arrest of Netanyahu. And yet Israel was not concerned. And then we saw Israel launching the attack on killing Palestinians, killing Hamas, and destroying all the buildings in Gaza, making it uninhabitable. Why was Israel acting like this? I said to myself, this is not just a matter of Gaza. Israel is unfolding a plan which is bigger than simply a matter of controlling Gaza. Israel then launched an attack on Hezbollah in Lebanon and demolished Hezbollah. Israel's Israeli Mossad and the CIA, supported by Erdogan in Turkey and supported by Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Kuwait and Qatar, they all supported the ISIS or the Dajjal warriors, I call them, the Islamic State. Which was waging war on Assad. And the objective was to bring about regime change in Syria. So Israel had a bigger agenda. Lebanon's Hezbollah, the agenda was bigger than that. It was also regime change in Syria. And Israel not only did that, Israel attacked Iran. Oh yes. They killed the head of Hamas, who was in Tehran, Ismail Haniyeh, and when they killed him with an act of state-sponsored terrorism, then Iran responded with a barrage of missiles. But then Israel did something more than that. They attacked Iran this time, and they didn't hide. When they killed Hamas, they didn't accept that we did it. They hid it. It was clandestine, secret. So we're not accepting responsibility. But when this time they attacked Iran, they did it to attack Iran's nuclear plants. And if you are attacking a nuclear plant, you are risking nuclear fallout, nuclear contamination. Dangerous to attack a nuclear plant. But not only did Israel launch an attack on Iran's nuclear plants, Israel killed so many of Iran's nuclear scientists. Israel killed the chief of staff of the Iranian armed forces. Israel killed the chief of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards because Israel knew where each one of them was living, which is their home, and they were able to kill them all. And Iran then responded, of course, as usual, with the usual barrage. But then not only did Israel attack Iran, but Trump also did it. So the agenda is something bigger than simply Gaza. What is the agenda? I said that the way Israel is behaving indicates that we are now located at the beginning of Pax Judeica. The Quran says about itself, and I have repeatedly quoted the verse, but it makes no difference. The deaf, the dumb, and the blind simply ignore me. They'll keep on ignoring me. The Quran says that Allah sent this book, Tibyanan likulli shay, that this Quran might explain all things. Does all things refer only to the past and not to the future? Is the Quran silent about the future? How can that be when the Quran is telling us about Akhir Zaman and Alamat Sa'ah? Yeah? So I have said, when the Quran says that it is Tibyanan likulli shay, then the Quran is not only saying that it explains the past, but also the present and the future. My critics are so embarrassingly silent on this subject. They say only Allah knows the future, only Allah knows the future, only Allah knows, like a gramophone record. Yes, truly. But Allah can convey information about the future. Allah can convey information about the future. Only Allah knows the future. Only Allah knows it. Like sheep and cattle and goats. But Allah can convey information about the future. So does the Quran explain the phenomenon of the advent of modern Western civilization? This is a civilization which shook up the whole world. This is a civilization which took control of power over the whole world. This is a civilization which took every other civilization, including the civilization of Islam, and put them all in the museums of history. This is a civilization which came to the world to say, we are the best, And we are the last, there is none to come after us that can supersede us. This is a civilization which has changed the way all of mankind has lived and is constantly changing even more. So is the Quran silent on modern Western civilization? My critics are embarrassingly silent. I say no. There is an explanation in the Quran about modern Western civilization, but they will not listen to me. When the Quran speaks, it sometimes speaks with ayah muhkama. This is a verse of the Quran which is plain and clear. It does not have to be interpreted. And the Quran says about the ayat muhkamat that these are ummul kitab, the very heart and substance of the book. But the Quran also has a second kind of verse, and they are called ayat mutashabihat. And these are verses which can only be explained when they are interpreted. And Allah did not send the Suratul Kahf by accident. No. Suratul Kahf of the Quran is the surah par excellence of the modern age and of Akhir Zaman. And in Suratul Kahf, the scholar of the end time is not conventional scholarship. The scholar, the most learned of all men, is Khidr alayhi salam. That is Suratul Kahf. And his scholarship differs from that of Musa, which is conventional scholarship, legal scholarship. His scholarship is different. He is the scholar who is located at Majma'ul Bahrain. So if you want to establish an institution of Islamic learning in the era of modern Western civilization, your institution of Islamic learning, your Jamia, your Darul Ulum, has to be located at Majma'ul Bahrain. Otherwise you're going to be producing imam for the masjid, but you're not going to produce scholars who can penetrate the reality of the world. Majma'ul Bahrain has been explained best of all by Imam al-Baydawi, who said that it is the place, it is the world of knowledge, of external knowledge, and the world of internal knowledge, ilmul zahir and ilmul batin. And I say it is the world of knowledge that is externally acquired and the world of knowledge which is internally received, which is the same thing as what Imam al-Baydawi says. But these two worlds of knowledge must be harmoniously integrated. And then you will get the scholar capable of penetrating the reality of the world in the age of modern Western civilization. Majma'ul Bahrain. And Khidr alayhi salam is the master because he is at Majma'ul Bahrain. He is the master of knowledge externally acquired and knowledge internally received. وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. Because he has this, Khidr alayhi salam is capable of giving something called ta'wil. Ta'wil is interpretation. When Allah said this, He meant that. That is ta'wil. So He gave the ta'wil about the boat and the scuttling of the boat. He gave the ta'wil about the boy he killed. He gave the ta'wil about the wall and the treasure built buried under the wall. This is ta'wil. All three of them are ta'wil or interpretation. So the Quran has ayat mutashabihat, and this is not by accident. The ayat mutashabihat are not in the Quran as window dressing. The ayat of mutashabihat have a significant role to play in history. That Allah provides knowledge in the ayat mutashabihat, but you cannot access that knowledge unless you can interpret it. They say, no, all the knowledge of the Quran has already been given to us. This is Salafi nonsense. This is Salafi nonsense. All the knowledge in the Quran already and Hadith is given to us, and it is in a package. The Darul Uloom says the package is sealed. And all that Islamic scholarship has to do is to transfer that package mechanically so from one generation to another. And we say, no, you're wrong. The knowledge of the Quran is inexhaustible. You cannot exhaust the knowledge of the Quran. And so there's much more knowledge still in the Quran, still to come to us. And the battle is now going on for the last 25 years. I'm fighting alone. But this caravan is moving forward. And more people are recognizing that methodology is wrong. This one is correct. So we have to go to the Quran to locate in the Quran that which explains the phenomenon of modern Western civilization. And in modern Western civilization, something strange is taking place. It's not just that the modern West has emerged, taking control of the world. It's more than that. When the modern West took over the world, one country led the modern West and became a ruling state in the world. Did this happen by accident? Where are these dum-dums coming from who pollute our intellectual atmosphere? Did this happen by accident? No. Britain did not become a ruling state in the world by accident. Pax Britannica is not an accident. It didn't fall from the sky. And then, not only did Britain give us Pax Britannica, taking control of power all over the world, but Britain played a strategic role in liberating the Holy Land, liberating Jerusalem for the Jews, and bringing them back to the Holy Land 2,000 years after they had been expelled by Allah and banned from returning. And you are telling me that this is something that's happening by accident? That there is nothing in the Quran to explain this? And Britain is not really showing this obsession for the Holy Land. It is from Britain that came the Balfour Declaration, with the state of Israel being established in the Holy Land. Not only that, but Britain, in order to control all of mankind, control them not only with weapons. No. The scientific and technological revolution emerged primarily out of Britain. Primarily out of Britain. To give to the Western world, and Britain in particular, a military advantage over all the rest of mankind because of the scientific and technological revolution. But Britain also chooses to rule mankind through money. And Britain gave us the sterling pound and the the bogus money and the banking system, which was the Bank of England, sorry. And through a bogus monetary system and through a bogus banking system, they're stealing the wealth of mankind, sucking the wealth of mankind. Britain started it. And that was Pax Britannica. And you are telling me, Imran, shut up. You don't have any knowledge of Islam. This is not in any of our classical tafsir. We are a people who worship the tafsir. Ah, yes, my critics. They're all jasads today. Jasads. They have no capacity to go to the Quran, to find out where does the Quran speak about Pax Britannica. And then came the moment in time after the First World War and the Second World War that you see the passage from Pax Britannica to Pax Americana. And out of modern Western civilization emerges a second ruling state. I don't have the time to tell you about United States of America and how it has conducted itself and the role of the US dollar and the role of the petrodollar and so on. Ask my critics, they probably can tell you. I've been teaching the subject for 25 years now. In order to cut a long story short, I came to the conclusion that we are now located in that moment in time when Pax Americana is giving way to Pax Judeica, even though the Great War has not as yet taken place. I am perhaps the only scholar in the world of Islamic scholarship to have said this. And so they're going to crucify me. But you, my people, I beg of you to think, use your thinking capacity.